Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, That Carnivore Life. I'm Emily and I'm here today to talk to you about what to drink on carnivore. It's so easy to know what to eat on carnivore. The advice is if you want to do it, eat what comes from an animal. But what about when we drink? Water isn't from an animal, but blood is and milk is. So are we just supposed to drink blood and milk and not drink water? It certainly does not mean that. With any way of eating, it's vital to look at the entire picture, the whole picture. It is known worldwide that humans need water to survive. The amount of water is sometimes debated, but not the fact that we need to be drinking it. If you're a hardcore, super strict carnivore, then you're probably only going to drink water, maybe sparkling water, and bone broths that you have made yourself, without any flavoring, natural or artificial, added to the water. And if you're a hardcore carnivore and looking to put on weight, you'll probably drink some cream and also milk. Regarding animal blood, look, honestly, each to their own. Personally, you will not find me drinking animal blood. It is super your choice. People in the UK eat blood sausage. There is legitimate animal blood in that sausage, so choice is yours, but I'm gonna stay away from that. Before we discuss what else we can drink on carnivore, it's important to note that thanks to the modern or standard ways of eating, each of our bodies has been affected differently, and that results in different tolerances regarding what we consume for each of us. Just like in relation to poison oak or poison ivy, some people get severe rashes, some people get mild rashes, and some people get none. And so while some people can tolerate it, other people can't. And that's actually the same with peanuts, something everyone can consume, but there are some people who are anaphylaxis to peanuts. So again, this is a perfect example of having different tolerances due to those modern or standard diets. Other than water, all liquids that I suggest that can be drunk on a carnivore diet, they need to be considered individually with those considerations in mind. What are you able to tolerate? Just because it's in line with a carnivore way of eating doesn't mean you should consume it, especially if it's going to hurt your body. And I would like to reiterate again that this is not medical advice. These are thoughts, points of view, or advice that have come from my on-the-job training from all the different professionals I have seen over the last 12 years as I have navigated my own health journey. I'm going to be discussing the liquids in order of what most fits carnivore or what perfectly fits carnivore to what least fits carnivore. So let's get to it. Liquid number one is water. As discussed, while water doesn't come from an animal, it is worldwide known that it is vital for human survival. Therefore, please drink it. If you're not thirsty, first consider, are you dehydrated and have missed your signals to drink water? Or do you genuinely have enough water in your body right now that you actually don't need to drink some? Plain sparkling water or soda water, so carbonated plain water, is also suitable in my opinion. Whilst the following suggestions are not animal-based, some carnivores do choose to keep them in their way of eating for a little bit of flavor and just for time to time, not as a regular daily occurrence. Most carnivores will consume salt, so that's a really easy way to keep your electrolytes up, is to add some salt to your water or even just lick it off your hand and then have some water. You could add a small squeeze of citrus to some water, or some bruised fruit like berries and muddle it up, or mint, fresh mint leaves. You can add that to your water too if you tolerate and are choosing to keep something like that in your diet. But again, this is not something that carnivores who choose to use those things put in every glass of water that they have. It might be even just once a month or every couple of months. Liquid number two, flavored waters. Let's all be honest here that most of us, when we're at a party, appreciate having a can of something sparkling in our hands. But it is very evident that something like Coca-Cola or Mountain Dew is not appropriate on a carnivore way of eating. So what do you drink when you're on a road trip or at a party or you just want a special drink? The best I've found is Spindrift. I'm somebody who really looks at the ingredients, and whilst I thought something like LaCroix was a great alternative, it was carbonated water and natural flavors, when I started to get sick, I realized those natural flavors were actually heavily processed test. You can look that up yourself to verify that information. It isn't natural flavor. Natural flavor is when you get a half a lime and squeeze the juice out and put some of that juice into your water. That is natural flavor. The best I have found is Spindrift, and that's exactly what they do. It's carbonated water with squeezes of fresh fruit, which sometimes includes a little bit of their pulp. It is minimal, and I would just say this is not something that I would drink daily, but you could have, even a couple a week or once a month, depending on what your goals are. Really, the choice is yours in regards to that. Liquid number 3, still in the carnivore space, is coffee and tea. Even the most hardcore carnivores usually do keep in a glass of tea or coffee a day, some more, some less, maybe only a couple of times or once a week. Picture this: you're in the lineup at Starbucks drive-thru, you roll your window down and you order a latte or a caramel latte or your favorite coffee at Starbucks, or tea. That is not the coffee or tea I am referring to. They often have sugars added, or they use a milk that has sugars in it, that has ingredients in it you do not want to be consuming. The kind of coffee or tea that a carnivore typically consumes, and what I'm referring to, is a black coffee or tea, hot or iced, and you can add a splash of heavy cream to that. Also, if you've got an iced one, you can blitz that up into a frappe, which is wonderful. You can use black teas, white teas, herbal teas, matcha green tea. There's a number of teas and coffees that you can use, but it's basically just the bean or the leaf infusing into the water, hot or cold, with or without ice, with a splash of heavy cream. There is no sugar in those drinks, and whilst tea or coffee and water doesn't come from an animal, water we need to thrive and survive, and tea and coffee, it is infusing, and many carnivores do keep it in. There are some carnivores who have found they are better off without tea and coffee, and so again, that is your personal preference. Some people also in their coffee will blend in butter, melted butter, or even an egg yolk. I personally haven't tried that yet and don't know how I actually feel about that. Also, if you're focusing on losing weight and you are adding a splash of heavy cream into your tea and coffee, you might want to watch how often you're drinking tea and coffee and how much cream that is, because if your goal is to lose weight and lose it fast, you actually really want to ditch the heavy cream. Liquid number 4, soups and broths. Soups are simply flavored water. Now, depending on who makes the soup will depend on what's in it. Personally, when I make a soup, it's just meat and bones and salt. If I'm eating it as a carnivore, I don't add in anything else. I might add in a sprig of cilantro. However, a soup will have vegetables in it, pasta, grain, that kind of thing. So again, if you're going to consume soup and drink soup, don't buy it, make it yourself. The biggest difference with soup is it's really just flavored water like tea or coffee, and it's been cooked for a much less period of time than a stock or a broth. A bone broth or a meat broth is cooked with water, usually some salt, maybe pepper, and then bones that typically have some meat still on them. They are generally cooked for a really long period of time, 12 to 48 hours, where the bones break down and these stocks aren't just full of flavor, but they're filled with nutrients, minerals, vitamins, collagen, things that are really helpful for our health. And this is why a lot of people drink them, and I'd encourage you to drink them too. The downside of broths and stock is that because they are cooked for a long period of time, they have high histamine level, which can cause some people to react really poorly. I can't drink stock or broth because I think that reason. So if I do, I cook it for a short time like I would a soup, but I get those bones cut really finely to get as much nutrients out of them as I can because I'm not cooking them for a long period of time. Also, often people when they make soups, broths, or stocks will add garlic and onion for flavor, and that's great. Do remember that garlic and onion contain fructans, which is a FODMAP or fructans, depending on what country you're from, and that leaches out in water. So if you're somebody who already has a sensitive gut, please don't use garlic or onion in water, only in oil, and don't sweat them. They need to be fried so that you're not leaching the fructans out into your meal. Also, don't go buying broths and stocks in a store, I personally have not found one that is fully carnivore, that is gentle on stomachs, for example, that don't contain garlic or onion. Liquid number 5, electrolytes and rehydration salts. Many carnivores love consuming these. However, I personally haven't need to. I've found my consumption of salt, which isn't extreme, but it's not poor, has been enough to keep my electrolytes up. If you do want to use electrolytes, make sure you're scrutinizing the ingredients. A lot of them do actually contain sugar, and sometimes they're sneaky in the way that they list that. They'll list it as dextrose, and dextrose, for example, is a sugar. Basically, that's it for liquids that I say are compliant with carnivore. Let's discuss alcohol for a moment. Alcohol does not come from an animal, and we certainly don't need it to survive or thrive. But let's be honest, many of us adults do like to enjoy an alcoholic beverage from time to time. The big thing about carnivore, or one of the big things about carnivore, is that it is a low to no carb way of eating. And as we know, most alcohols contain carbs and sugar and are just really actually not carnivore compliant. So if you want to have a glass of alcohol, remember your goals. Does it support your goals? And if you're still deciding to consume that glass of alcohol, consume one that isn't going to undo all the hard work you've done or really negatively affect your goals. For example, vodka is a really good alcohol to drink if you're going to consume some alcohol as a carnivore. It is basically 0 carbs. There is no sugar in it. So a no sugar vodka mojito, which is vodka, soda water, fresh lime, and fresh mint with ice, can work. Things like beer, champagne, cocktails, and tonic water definitely do not work. If you're going to jump into the wine side of things, a dry red is very, very low in carbs, whereas your whites and your champagnes, certainly not. Just to give an example of a carnivore who does occasionally enjoy a alcoholic beverage, I might have alcohol 4 times a year. And when I say I have alcohol, it's usually a glass, and to be honest, I usually drink a quarter of it. I might have a glass, maybe 2, of an alcoholic beverage in an entire, spread out an entire year. It's not weekly, it's not daily, it's not even monthly. It's just, if you're out and you want to enjoy something nice like that and it feels a little bit awkward around people, go for something that's not going to derail you. So like a vodka or a dry red wine. Personally, I don't feel there's any other liquid that is suitable to be consumed on a carnivore diet because they all contain sugar or carbohydrates, which turn into sugar in some form. I hope you found this video helpful today. Please leave your comments down below. I'd love to read them and respond as I'm able. Please like this video by selecting the thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and select that bell notification to be notified of future uploads. Be one of the first to view my future videos. And come follow me on Instagram, thatcarnivorelife.gram, for daily snippets into my life as a carnivore. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll see you next time. That's all from me, Emily, at That Carnivore Life.